Oh, hi. Good evening. Let me just check my levels over there. I'm supposing that everybody can hear what I am saying, even though I am speaking at such a low level. Um, this isn't going to be a terribly exciting or revelatory video about, what Peace Island looks like right now, or, the mechanics of development. I'm just putting this video up because in recent weeks, as the game has become a little bit more popular on social media, people have been asking more and more when the game is going to be coming out. And I pride myself on my transparency in this project. Since day one, I've been open with our finances, where the money comes from, where it's going, and what our schedule is, and when I've come up short. And I just want to continue that record by doing a short video about this tonight. And unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of charts and numbers and dates and just miscellanea. But hey, maybe it'll be informative to some of you guys out there. And if nothing else, when people in the future, maybe you, are asking me, hey, Eric, when is the game coming out? I can point you toward this video. So, just really quick, I'm going to check something. Bring this over here. All right. So I can see if I have any chats coming in. Just want to make sure. Okay, now I want to start this off, this little talk off, with the perennial quote that is put out by game developers, especially indies who are taking on huge projects. And if you've not heard it, it's a good time to hear it. A delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. And that is Shigeru Miyamoto, who is, if you do not know who he is, I'll zoom in on the thing there so you can look him up on Wikipedia. This is a guy who knows what he's talking about, and this has been our watchword in developing this game all throughout its development time, and you're going to see a lot more about that in the next couple of minutes. But I wanted you to just ponder that quote just a moment, and as always, I have to keep myself hydrated, because otherwise I'm going to get all Alex Jones scratchy on you all, and I'm trying to keep my voice low so that I don't scream and yell or, go Alex Jones or anything. So let me just get rid of these here. Now, what is this? We have Shigeru Miyamoto still back there. This, really quick, is very curious. And yes, I am doing this within the Flash interface, or Adobe Animate interface, because here's the thing, I've been working in Flash for so many years previous to this that I find it just a very easy thing to put together charts like this. So now, really quick, I just want to, in case you're not aware, well, first off, this is the entirety of the development schedule, starting in November of 2017, when development of the game started in earnest. And what I'm going to say is 2020, we are right about, in fact, June, right there. So we are looking at, I'm just going to see if I can like an area from about there to, sorry, from the beginning of the game's development until the present is right there. And you can see over here that the vast majority of that was solo development, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back in time here for a moment. And this is a little bit extemporaneous, because I have a little bit of time free this evening, and I didn't feel like scripting and animating a video. It's just so much easier for me to explain it here. And I'm hoping my voice is coming through. I'm just going to check my levels again, because I don't want this music in the background to overpower me, if you can hear it at all. Let's see here. But you can see work on the game started in November of 2017. Now, please understand, at that time, number one, you have to understand the scope of game development projects. Games of this scope usually have a staff of at least, about a dozen, ideally about 100. But I started this game by myself, with Laura as a writing partner, and occasional help from a guy over in Greece to do a little bit of coding from that time to time. And I did that on top of a 44-hour a week job as a line cook. I sometimes worked, I repeatedly worked 10.5-hour shifts and would come home, and if I had an hour of energy left in me, I would work on the game. So, and understand at that time, I had no budget. At one time at work, I just noticed a lot of my coworkers, they smoke cigarettes, and I figured, these guys probably buy a pack of cigarettes a day. I'm going to spend that amount of money on, this game project that I'm working on. So essentially, you're talking about a project that had like a $210 a month budget at that time. I'd save up money and get in touch with Alex Kostas over in Greece, and he'd do a little bit of coding for us if he could. But other than that, it was 99% just me all throughout this period, which, as you can see, is almost a complete year of working on this on no budget. Now, all the time from the very beginning of this development, I can show you, actually, I will bring us a couple of screenshots. I can show you where I brought the game in that first year. Let me see. This is a first screenshot. I'll show you. Ooh, gotta scale that sucker down. Anyway, you can see it right there. That's the first screenshot of the game taken on that fateful day there. And I think by the time I got to the end of the first phase of the solo development period, I had gotten it to, I have to scroll down. Oh yeah, it was before I had brought in, it was everything. Sorry, pardon me while I'm just ASMR talking. ASMR talking. Let's just scrolling. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I had gotten the island to, the point. Hopefully we're not getting too much of a lag, I had, all of the downtown done, and all the sidewalks and all the biomes and everything was hand placed. You see, that was in that first year with myself working all alone on a budget of $7 a day. Now, you'll see that I put a divider here between the first solo dev period and the... Oh, and it's still titled Solo Dev Project 2. Oh my goodness, how embarrassing. Excuse me. We're going to put this 2. See, I'm like the absent-minded professor tonight. You're seeing me being all genuine. Let me just check my levels again. Okay. Yeah. You can see here, I've separated the solo dev project period into 2 halves, or 2 sections. And you can see here the second part starts at, you'll have to pardon me. The second part starts in mid-October. That is because that's when I got the funds for my first Kickstarter. Well, my only Kickstarter. And that allowed me, instead of working 44 hours a day, 44 hours a week, it allowed me to work 30 hours a week and spend, those extra 10 hours a week working on the game. And at that time, I could still bring in Alex, and Laura was assisting with the writing and scripting and such. And but still, what that did was it increased my daily budget from, in all honesty, I never really did the math, but I'd have to say maybe from $7 a day to $25 a day, if that. Those were lean times, but by the time I got done with that, I had brought the game up to, let's see, a screenshot. Unfortunately, I know precisely when things took off, because the aspect ratio of the screenshots change, because that's when just pardon me one moment. Yeah, it got me to the point that I was coming up with nice screenshots like that. We're just gonna have to really zoom it out, the island's looking nice and fun. That's not bad for one guy with a little bit of technical help. And, let me show you how it was right before the solo dev project ended and it sort of grew into something bigger. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through thousands of screenshots here. There we are. Yeah, but I had brought, there we go. The game was in this shape, looking pretty good all told. And again, that was done on essentially a threadbare budget, one guy, and all told, I believe, let's see, solo dev project, that was 21 months that I worked pretty much alone. I'm going to turn down this music because there's a little bit of chatter in it. I'm very sorry. All right. But that was 21 months of me working alone on that. And to this day, sorry about that. To this day, you got to understand, I'm going to just highlight that whole area again from the beginning of the project until now. You can see that's over 2/3 of the time that this project has been in development. It's just been me working alone with, a guy that I could hire for $25 to do a little bit of coding with me. Now, I'll tell you how we transitioned from the solo dev period into the, for lack of a better term, team period. I really don't like that term team, but, I'm going with it. That was in July of 2019 was when the Peace Island project really started to take off on social media. And the Patreon started bringing in money on a level, essentially on a level that allowed us to just no longer be, a couple of people working full-time, jobs as line cooks and such, and go into the... Now, from this period onward, I'd say we have about 5 dedicated people, but really we can only afford to pay them about 25 to 30 hours a week. And generally we have, about 5 musicians, 10 illustrators, and some people that are doing consultation for us. In fact, we brought in some some consultants recently to deal with our IK and such. I would say total we have, upwards of 25 people that have contributed their talents toward this project. But really, from the end of the solo dev period, we've had, let me just bring that up. I'm going to unhide that. We had the team period. Actually, no, I should hide that again because that is not relevant at this time. So, since this time, we've actually had a staff and some dedicated people handling all of this stuff. And we've also dealt with just really setting up a company for the first time in our lives. And, and dealing with the craziness from COVID is occupied at least 3 months of that, which has just been delightful. So really, we're looking at, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. Only about less than 1/3 of this project's time, we've actually had a staff other than myself, Laura, and the freelancer that we used to depend on. So you see, we are still in alpha, if that has not been made clear to you. The game, understand, has to go through several like iterations before it's ready for development. And if you didn't know that, I mean, heck, I think the first alpha was released in late, I think almost around the new year of 2019. And we released a new alpha just about every month, as we just gradually brought the project better and better and better. But, I mean, I will confess there was a time, about in July, right before it took off in social media, that I went to our Kickstarter folks and I had to confess, listen, guys, this is going to take me a heck of a lot longer than I had anticipated. And hey, if any of you guys want your, contributions back, I'm willing to do so. Now, nobody did ask for their money back, and I figured it would probably take me about another year to get the game done. Even, I mean, a threadbare version of the game done as a solo developer, and right now, that was wildly optimistic because Team Period 1 here, which I'm designating the time that it's going to take us to develop the first public alpha, that'll end about 1 year from the time that I made that confession, a little bit more, about 13 months. Now, understand that the public beta that we are releasing in August of 2020 is not going to be, pardon me, the full game. This is going to be a beta that basically is a proof of concept of all the game concepts. It's going to look good. It's going to have about a good hour's worth of content, but it's not going to be the full game. Now, the full game, we are planning to be released sometime in the end of Team Period 2, which in itself is close to 1 year. Because understand, again, a game of this scope usually requires, even in the most optimistic of circumstances, I'd say a dedicated team of 25 folks. We still have only 5. Now, once we release a public beta, we are anticipating that we will be able to secure the funding required to bring the full game into fruition, because that new funding will be able to allow us to bring in the new staff that we need, the additional staff. And we are currently anticipating that the full game will be released in 2021, the autumn of 2021. I know that seems a long way off, but understand, again, this is a project that was started by one person all the way back here, on a budget of $7 a day. And it remained that way for a very long time, as you can see. And one of the more distressing things that happened when the game got a lot of popularity on social media was, I mean, right at this time here, I'll just make a line there, if I can make an arrow. Yeah. Unfortunately, a heck of a lot of people got the impression that the game was very close to release. And because of that, and and gotta tell you, it wasn't any. We didn't tell anybody that was close to release. It's just that a lot of the journalists who reported on the game said it was very close to release, and they never consulted us. And so, as a result, a lot of people have been commenting on, social media, and I got a comment on Reddit, and another oblique comment on YouTube about people saying, "Hey, when is this going to get done?" Well, I'm putting it right out there in full transparency. This is when it's going to get done. I don't like that the length of this team period, but understand we only got about 14 months of that team period left, and we only got about 3 to 4 months maximum until you're going to be able to play the beta. So let me tell you, I when I started this game, believe it or not, I was under the impression, no, I was not under the impression. I started this game with the full knowledge that it would take me, if it were just myself, 2 years. And I underestimated that. I'll fully acknowledge. But when I discovered that it couldn't be done by one person, again, I just said, "Hey guys, it's going to take me a heck of a lot longer as an individual to get this done." I did not lie to anybody. I was straight up with everybody. And, if anybody wants to make the claim that Peace Island is vaporware, they can talk to the literally thousands of people who have downloaded our alphas. And heck, once we get this new, the 0.9 alpha for the PC, I'll be posting new videos here. It's, I'm pretty sure you could also, contribute yourself to our Patreon, $1 and you could check for yourself and find out for yourself that the game exists and is under development and getting bit every month. In fact, I could probably get in touch with me personally via our Patreon, and I'll send you a link to each one of the previous ones, both PC and Mac, so you can see how it has developed over all of those months. But let me tell you, you don't want to even look at the first alphas. They were embarrassing. I think the first PC alpha got like about 5 to 10 frames a second, and the Mac alpha got maybe 3 frames a second. Oh my goodness, that was embarrassing. But anyway, simply put, sorry, I'm going to move this down again. That is the history of the Peace Island project, from one person working 45 hours a week at a diner as a line cook, and working on this in whatever hours he could get, off of that job, to one guy, working a concert with a couple of other, like with one coder and a writer, only working 30 hours a week at the same job and still pulling out in 10.5-hour shifts sometimes. I was working 7 days a week too. But, that's what you got to do if you believe in your project. To, the point where, we got a lot of social media attention, and we were able to, build a team of people, talented people from literally all over the world, to, right now, which is right here. And it's a wonderful thing to see come into fruition. And I mean, let me tell you, if you're wishing, geez, I wish they get it done faster, the feeling is mutual on this end of the camera. The problem is that really there is only so much that one can do with a limited staff and the budget that we have. And yes, we are granted a very generous budget by the gamers who've generously donated to the project, but understand that currently, as it is, a game like this would require in the neighborhood of about 3.1 million to produce. And right now we're looking at a cumulative budget until the end of our Patreon. Our Patreon account campaign, by the way, is slated to end in October. We'll have about 20% of a budget that would be of the 3.1 million that a project like this would pretty much need. But considering what I was able to put together, I was able to put together by myself in these first 21 months, and like the quantum leap that the game has taken and just the short period since, heck, I'm pretty optimistic about the future. I think that we can continue. I mean, when I tell people the number of people that we've been able to get, I mean, some publishers, I've had conversations with some publishers are interested, as they said on Community, that episode. Was it season 5 or season 6? Anyway, shout out to the Dan Harmon fans out there. When I tell them that, we've been able to bring this much talent onto the project with such a small budget, they are floored. And it's, I think it's just because that we all have had absolute faith in the project since, at least, well, I've had absolute faith in the project since I started. And, everybody that we work with is incredibly talented, and I have faith in them as much as I have faith in our project. And it's a wonderful thing to see happen. And so, here I am, Grandpa Simpsoning. I really should put this whole live stream to an end. I don't see any questions over here. I'm just going to look here. Yeah, we had one concurrent viewer, and that was probably me the entire time. So, guys, you're probably going to see this, over the next few months. It's going to be boring. 26 minutes of budget talks. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for your support. And I'll just get it back to our title card here. Yeah, there we go. Peace Island. Guys. Thank you so very much for your patience. And anybody who sat through this, I guarantee you're bored as hell. Take care.